Greetings everybody, Fu here. Sorry about the noise, but I'm in a inside area where we can do some painting. I've been asked to do a tutorial on how to actually apply primer and paint. Some people it's, second nature, but if you've never used it before, it can be kind of tricky to do it right. So just like cutting your hair and cutting armor, less is more with the paint. I'm going to do multiple coats of multiple different primers to give different levels of gray underneath, so that as you scratch and sand away, you'll have kind of a blaster look without having to do extra painting on top of it. So the first thing I use is a Krylon indoor-outdoor primer. Well, that doesn't sound good. I like it because it's got a directional tip, gives a good fan pattern, and then I use just a Rust-Oleum 2+ or a double coverage, just because there's a lot of paint in it. But this does a good job of getting your first coat down and even, and then you can do this to build up. And look for different grays in different makers. I use Krylon because it bonds with plastic really well, and it's got that directional. So let's go ahead and get into it. The biggest thing to remember is not to get too close and not to stay in one spot. So make sure you shake it up real well and do the inside first. All right, kind of figure out what your strokes are going to look like, what your pattern's going to look like. And a back and forth pattern is what you're going to use, overlapping each of your previous sprays. Now the reason I say do the inside first, one, it kind of gets you used to how the can's gonna spray for you, but also it lets you know what the dribble factor is for that particular paint, so you don't dribble on the outside where it's going to be more important. Now if you're doing like a Delta, you might not need to prime the whole inside, just because there's a lot of white on those guys anyway. But since this is going to be an Omega, I'm going to prime the whole inside. You're usually going to want to be 6 to 8 inches away from your target. Start off of your target and then come onto it. That way you don't end up with a stutter in your paint. I know it's kind of hard to see here. I'll move over in a second. You will go through a lot of paint. Nobody said this hobby was cheap. Remember to keep shaking that can, keep it agitated, otherwise you'll end up either too much paint or too much air. Okay, I've got a good base coat on the inside. I can always tweak that later. Alright, I'm starting off with the chest. Nice big surface area that's got some grooves in it so we can see how it goes in. Remember, you want to start off your target, move across your target, release, come back a little lower, and you'll see the width of your fan pattern. Overlap your fans, and just keep going through. Don't go back over a spot until it's dried. Alright, you're going to do multiple coats. Less is more. If it's looking really wet, back up a little bit. Now you can do it back and forth once you get used to it. You just got to remember to lower each pass. Alright, now you can see I've kind of got some stripes in there where I didn't hit everything. That's okay, we're going to come back and hit it again from a different angle. Don't go too fast, but don't go too slow. Just a good rock pattern back and forth. You're waltzing with your armor. Alright, let the cloud clear there. Not bad for a start. Let's turn her around. And again, remember, off target, on target. I did this right, the side should have thinner, because I really was working to not overlap anything. So a little bit, you'll notice that the front is probably dry at this point. So remember, off, all the way across. You can really see the difference there, how the side hasn't been hit yet. And this is really where you'll see how good you've done on your seams. If you've sanded them down smooth enough, you won't see much at all. One nice part about the chest, it actually has a seam that's built into the images. So one thing you can also do with this Krylon can is if you want to switch angles, don't tilt the can, twist the nozzle. Alright, so twist that nozzle 90 degrees so it's left to right. And now I'm going to have a fan pattern so that I can just come straight down and get my fan that way. This is why I said don't worry about the tiger stripe, because you're going to go ahead and come back over it with a fan from a different angle. I'm just about out of this first can. You should be able to get your whole chest covered with this first can. I had actually painted a leg before this. If it starts to sputter, shake it up. Make sure you're still good there. Alright, that's the basics of priming. Make sure you're overlapping. Make sure you're not going too thick. Make sure you're not going too fast. Make sure you're not going too slow. You'll get the feel for it. Practice on the inside of your armor and you'll get it. Use multiple coats. I'm probably going to put 4 cans of primer on over the chest and arms. I use at least 3 different kinds, probably 1 or 2 cans for the chest. The arms and legs are going to take up less, obviously. So use your discretion, have fun with it, but remember to go slowly, just like a haircut. Alright, I've been Foo. We'll see you guys.